welcome to a tier list video that I totally didn't steal this idea from my good friend Average Gaming. Make sure you go check out his channel as well. And we are going to be going through all the generations, talking about the Pokemon from a design perspective only. It's important we distinguish this because Pokemon design is entirely subjective, and of course, with each passing generation, Pokemon designs often shift a lot and various things like that. So of course, this is an opinion piece, this is my opinion only. So if I don't like your favorite Pokemon, that's totally fine. But link to this tier list will be down in the description below. If not, yell at me in the comments and I'll put it in there. But we're gonna go from this from a design point of view, so we're not looking at competitive, we're not looking at Nuzlocke or anything like that. No stats are involved here, this is purely my opinion on the designs. So we're gonna start through Kanto, of course, and then we'll go through all of the generations as and when we get to them. But without any further ado, let's jump into this one. Of course, if you like a tier list video, make sure to show support by leaving a like down below, would greatly appreciate it. Right then, so let's start from the very beginning, shall we? So, now, Kanto starters in general have always been, like, the staples, if you like. They were the first in. Bulbasaur is probably my favorite of the baby forms. I've always been somewhat indifferent to the middle stages. Ivysaur's no exception. I think it's a fine evolution, but it's not really my cup of tea. In terms of like Pokemon design, it looks okay, but it's passable. I should really say sort of S tier is my favorites outright. A tier I actually like. B tier I'm largely indifferent to. C tier I'm not really a big fan of, and D tier are the very few Pokemon that I absolutely hate. There won't be many of those in this list, but there will be some, so just keep that in mind. Venusaur, again, like design wise I'm actually indifferent towards Venusaur. But obviously, it's my favorite starter final evolution competitively. We're not going to worry too much about the gender differences between the two. In terms of gender forms, we're not really going to make too much note of them. There's very few differences between the Venusaur forms, and they don't really change the opinion of the design regardless. Now, Mega Venusaur. Now, I've always had a problem with Megas, and the main problem I've always had is they've kind of generally over-designed them, and I guess that's kind of the point. Like, it's an additional evolution stage, if you like. So, theoretically speaking, yes, it would be more over-designed, but I had a big problem with Venusaur for quite a while where I felt like it was over-designed, and these forms really don't do anything for me at all in terms of design perspective. I feel like they actually make the already existing problem worse. Charmander, much like Bulbasaur, really well-designed starter. Charmeleon I like a bit better than Ivysaur, though. I do actually like that they adjusted the color scheme to kind of make it seem a little bit more mature, because that's essentially what these starter evolution lines are supposed to be. It's supposed to be like child form, sort of teenage form, and then adult form, if you like. That's kind of the way old-school Pokemon design philosophy worked. Charizard, now Kid Bombi would put this in S tier for sure, but I gotta be honest, I'm not much of a fan of Charizard's design nowadays. I think part of it is obviously the disappointment that it's not actually a dragon, but I've just never really been huge on Charizard as I've gotten older. I've sort of appreciated it a lot less. Megazord X I actually am a better fan of. I think Megazord X is probably the best of the evolutions, of the Megas especially. I think Megazord X is a sick design. I like the change of color scheme, and I actually like the fact it is actually a dragon type. Megazord Y, however, is the first D tier for me. This just looks like Beta Charizard. And, you know, given the fact I'm not super huge on Charizard anyway, design-wise, Megazord Y does not do it any better. G-Max is fine. It's an adjustment, which is fine. I do like the fire wings and stuff like that. I do think it's a pretty cool concept. Not necessarily super well executed, but it's a fine concept. Squirtle, definitely up there. Probably my least favorite of the three first forms, but I do like turtles, so I'm not going to complain about that one. Wartortle, somewhat indifferent to. Blastoise, Design-wise, even though it's the simplest of the final evolutions, I do think it's also the most well-executed. They didn't make the same mistakes that they did with Venusaur and Charizard, where they sort of over-designed it. They just made the evolution line make sense. Having cannons spreading out the top of the shell is kind of cool. Nice design choice. I do think Mega Blastoise is better, though. I think Mega Blastoise, probably the only Mega of the Kanto starters that actually works. I think it's fitting for the design. Again, very simplistic, but it works. And I like the G-Max too. I think the G-Max is pretty solid. I think it's a well-executed concept that doesn't over-design Blastoise. And now we go to early bugs. Caterpie, somewhat indifferent to it. Metapod, I've never really cared for all that much. Butterfree I like, though. Butterfree's a nice design. Definitely pretty well thought out. Obviously, it should really have been Venonat's evolution, which I think is probably the only thing that really holds it back. G-Max Butterfree is my first S. This thing's design is incredible. I love the concept of it. It's super well executed, and it makes a lot of sense too, while keeping that sort of butterfly theme, butterfly concept that it should have been. And I'm very grateful for that. Weedle, I actually prefer slightly better than Caterpie. They're both sort of indifferent to me, though. Kakuna, much like Metapod, not a fan. Beedrill, I like Beedrill. Same as Butterfree, and Mega Beedrill also goes to S for me. I think Mega Beedrill is just really cool. Really sick design, and it absolutely makes sense as a Mega Evolution. Pidgey is boring. It's just a regular bird. Pidgeotto, again, just a regular bird. Pidgeot, kind of a bigger regular bird. Never much cared for this line at all. Mega Pidgeot is a little better, though. I'm somewhat indifferent towards Mega Pidgeot, but I don't hate it. Rattata, somewhat passable. Pretty bolt standard. Alolan Rat's a little better, but again, somewhat indifferent towards it. Raticate just kind of looks like a generic rat, and I'm not much of a fan of it. Alolan Raticate a little bit more. A little bit better, but it's, again, still indifferent. Spearow, I'm somewhat indifferent to, but I like better than Pidgey. Fearow, I like, though. Fearow is like a really aggressive design choice, and a very solid natural progression from Spearow. I think it makes sense as an evolution line. Ekans, it's a rattlesnake. Don't really care that much. Arbok, I like the design on its body a little better. So we'll put Arbok in the indifferent tier. Obviously, Pikachu, definitely one of the mascots of the franchise, and a perfect choice. It's a really well designed, it's really well proportioned mon. It makes a lot of sense. The G-Max, I mean, Chonkachu's Chonkachu, right? It's gotta be an S tier. I actually really like how they executed Chonkachu for the G-Max. I think it's really clever, and I'm all for it. The whole costume form and Ash Hat Pikachu, I'm not really that concerned about, mainly just because it's largely just Pikachu in an outfit, so nothing too special there. Raichu I like. I actually really like Raichu's design, makes sense as an evolution. It's a perfectly well thought out evolution. Alolan Raichu I love, though. I love the whole surfing style of its tail. I love the fact it's a psychic type. As well, which is really sick. Definitely a very clean execution for a regional variant. Sandshrew, somewhat indifferent towards. Alolan and Sandshrew, kind of the same. Sandslash I like, though. Fun fact for you, actually, just as an anecdotal memorial. When I first played Pokemon Gold version, in the same version I got my first ever shiny, which was Voltorb, I accidentally threw my Master Ball on a Sandslash, just east of Cherry Grove Town, where the route to Victory Road goes. So yeah, just a fun memory. But I actually really like the design of Sandslash. Alolan Sandslash, not so much, though. I'd say it's a dislike. I don't really like the icicles on its back all that much. I should like it. It is cool looking, but I just feel like I like regular Sandslash a lot more. Right, Nidoran line. I don't have a problem with the base form. The middle stage Nidorina I wasn't a big fan of, though. And Nidoqueen is sick. Nidoqueen is a really nice design. I will point out that this is not necessarily in an order of each tier. I'm largely just putting them in the tier list. So even though like Butterfree is the first on this list, it's not necessarily my favorite of this generation, but it's definitely an S tier mon. Nidoran male, again, same deal, I don't really mind. Not the biggest fan of Nidorino, but Nidoking is one of my favorite Pokemon in the generation. It's a really well executed design. I think in terms of Pokemon design philosophy, like this big kaiju badass monster is exactly what kind of design I really like. It's cool, it's intimidating, it's strong, and it is just generally really well designed. I think it's got a perfect execution. Alright, Clefairy. I sort of middle on Clefairy. Clefable I like a little bit more. It's a decent evolution and makes perfect sense from the Clefairy. It's somewhat basic of an evolution, but there's nothing wrong with that. Vulpix, absolute S tier. Actually one of my favorite Pokemon from Generation 1. Alolan Vulpix I absolutely love as well. And Ninetales and Alolan Ninetales, always going to be S tier. Ninetales actually was my favorite Pokemon before Ribombee came out. And then Ribombee became my favorite Pokemon, and Alolan Ninetales is my favorite regional variant. So that goes without saying. Those two absolute easy S tiers. Jigglypuff, I mean, if this wasn't just on design, it would definitely be higher on this list, but it's a pretty average one. And Wigglytuff, not the greatest evolution, to be honest, but it's not terrible. I'm here for it. Zubat's just a generic bat, nothing too special. I actually didn't even realize it had a gender difference. It's very, very slight, regardless of what it is. Golbat. See, Golbat just is kind of basic, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's just somewhat simple, and there's no harm in it. Oddish. I mean, it's a turnip. It's a basic Oddish. Gloom, I kind of dislike Gloom. Mainly the drawl on its design kind of puts me off. The face is somewhat really off-putting. Well, Vileplume makes up for it, though. Vileplume's a really sick design. Definitely pretty cool. Have a lot of design preferences to it. I actually do like this gender form a little bit more. I like the flower design better, so we'll just put that one on. But yeah. Paris, yeah, it is what it is. Not a bad Pokemon. Parasector's cool, though. I like the design choice. I like the concept. I like the fact that the mushroom is somewhat parasitic and controlling Parasect as a whole. Really cool design. Venonat, again, pretty basic. Venomoth I like more, though. Much like a lot of the other bug Pokemon in this region, like Venomoth has a decent place. Again, it is just a little bit of a shame that it's Venonat's evolution when this probably could have been Metapods. But it is what it is. Diglett, it's a Diglett, nothing too special. Alolan Diglett, kind of a little bit weird looking with the hair. The whole like hair on its head doesn't really do it for me. And it's kind of the same deal with the evolutions, like they just don't do it for me, even though it's better typing and stuff like that. Like design-wise, it just looks a bit weird. But the regular forms are fine. Meowth, pretty solid design, nothing wrong with Meowth at all. The G-Max, I hate though. I just don't like this whole like elongated cat design. It just looks weird. It doesn't really do it for me. A lot of Meowth, I mean, it just seems like a worse Meowth, so I don't really see the point of it. Alaria Meowth is quite cool though. Actually it's not as much as it. It's a little bit weird with the whole like beard type thing at the bottom. Kind of throws me off a little bit, but I'm much more indifferent to that one. Psyduck, I like Psyduck. Nothing wrong with Psyduck at all. Golduck, the only real gripe I have with Golduck is it's literally blue and not gold. Would have been a lot better, but it is what it is. Alright, Mankey, I like Mankey. And I love Primeape. Primeape is really, really sick, and obviously we'll get to Annihilate once we get to Gen 9, but definitely a huge fan of Annihilate. Growlithe and Arcanine, much like Ninetales, it's doggo and it's fire. It's just like super sick design. Definitely a great choice of Pokemon in this generation. Poliwag, I couldn't get behind the Polyline. I think the main reason I couldn't get behind them, to be honest, was the weird spiral. You know, as soon as I figured out as part of the design that was actually their intestines showing, I guess it kind of threw me off them, to be honest. Abra's a pretty cool design, Kadabra's a pretty cool design, and Alakazama's a pretty cool design. I think Alakazama's the best of them. Definitely an S tier design for me. Really cool psychic type. The whole spoon trope is obviously been around for years, but it's well executed in this particular creation. Mega Alakazam, I think, is just brilliant. I think the whole design choice of it, making it more like a sage type magician, is just super brilliant, and absolutely down for that. Machop is too humanoid for my liking. Not much of a fan of the Machop line in general. I'm indifferent towards Machamp though, because it's at least somewhat differentiated, as no human has 4 arms. So that's fine. Nice differentiation. I'm okay with it. The G-Max, it's just a bit weird for me. I don't really get the whole, like, seeping stuff on its arms. It doesn't really do anything for me. It's just a little bit odd. But it is what it is. Bellsprout, it's fine. Nothing too special, but I'm okay with it. Weeping Bow kind of is a little bit off-putting. The gaping mouth kind of does me a little bit. Which is absolutely fine. It is what it is. But Victory Bell is really cool. The whole, like, Venus Flytrap. I don't think it's actually a Venus Flytrap that it's based on. I think it's based on something else. But I really like the concept, especially the final evolution. Definitely a good uptick on Weeping Bell. Tentacle is fine. I actually like Tentacle quite a bit. Pretty solid jellyfish design. Tentacruel is definitely up there as well. Really good evolution line in general. Just really annoying how when you surf you just keep finding it, but that's irrelevant to its design. Geodude is boring. It's just a rock with hands. Nothing too special. Same deal with Graveler, to be honest. It's just got more hands. Alolan Geodude, it looks a little bit cooler. I'm somewhat indifferent towards the Alolan form, although Graveler's just a bit wonky. Golem is fine, passable as an evolution. Alolan Golem, Alolan Golem's fine. Don't have a problem with that. It's just not the greatest evolution around, but it's nothing too bad. Ponyta, love Ponyta. It's a solid fire horse design. The Galarian form, less so. It's still fine. It's just not really my cup of tea. Galarian Rapidash was a bit of a missed opportunity. Could have been a Pegasus Pokemon, but we didn't get it. I love Kanto Rapidash though. I just love the whole horse design. They executed it brilliantly as like this mature stallion fire horse. Definitely like it. Slowpoke, it's good. Nothing special, but it's good. Galarian Slowpoke, I can't get behind though. I accidentally grabbed onto by accident. Galarian Slowpoke, I can't get behind. It's nothing that great. Slowbro is fine, nothing special, don't hate it. I do like the concept of the evolution with Shelter though. Mega Slowbro, I don't see why it exists. It's not really, it's just not really any better than regular Slowbro's or design. I think it's actually worse. So it kind of just takes away from it. Galarian Slowbro, it's not great. The whole arm cannon thing, like, it would have been better if it would have been better in other ways, but to me, it's just not that great. Magnemite, it's fine. Nothing too special, but nothing awful either. Magneton, kind of the same. Nothing too special for me. Farfetch'd, I love Farfetch'd design. Certainly not one of my favorites, but it's up there. It's definitely one of my preferred designs for a flying type. It's a pity it's trash in battle, but you know what? It's fine. Galarian Farfetch'd, not so much. I don't hate it, but I don't like it either. Sort of an indifferent one for me. Doduo, I like Doduo. Definitely a pretty nice design for a flying type. Dodrio, really cool though. Dodrio, definitely my favorite of the early flying types in Gen 1. I just love the whole sort of three-headed bird style system they had going on. Definitely like it. Seal is fine, nothing too special. Dugong, again, nothing too special. They're just Seal and Seal Lion Pokemon. They're kind of basic, but they're actually somewhat decent. Grimer and Muk. I mean, I used to hate them, but I like them a little bit more now. Although Alolan Grimer's just a little bit weird. The whole yellow mouth thing is kind of a little off-putting. But Muk and Alolan Muk is fine. Again, not huge fans of them, but I don't hate them either. Shelter, I like Shelter. Really cool little design for a shellfish Pokemon. Cloyster is fine. It's actually really good. Obviously, there's the whole phallic object type deal with it, but yeah, it's a really good clan design Pokemon. Nothing wrong with it. Don't hate it at all. Ghastly, design-wise, it's fine. It's just a generic ghost. Haunter's a little better. Gengar is really good. Now, when it comes to the whole Mega, I don't know, Mega Gengar's okay. But the G-Max is a little bit weird looking. Not necessarily my cup of tea. I don't hate him, but I don't love him either. Onix, it's a rock snake, nothing too special. Drowsy, a little bit weird design. Not super big on it. And Hypno as well, just kind of a little bit weird. The whole sort of dream eating antelope, I think it is supposed to be, or an anteater, one of the two. Just a little bit odd, not a fan of them. Krabby, it's a basic crab, nothing too special. Kingler, again, kind of same deal, just an oversized claw. G-Max Kingler's just weird. I don't get the design choices they went for with this. Not really a big fan of it, personally. Voltorb, basic Pokeball. Electrode, slightly more basic Pokeball. Perfectly fine, but nothing too special design-wise. Execute. I'm somewhat indifferent towards Execute. I don't hate it, I don't like it. I like Exeggutor, though. I like the whole coconut tree design. And Alolan Exeggutor is brilliant too. Really good designs. They're perfectly fine for coconut tree type Pokemon. I don't have a problem with them. Cubone, love Cubone's design. Really nice execution. Marowak is definitely one of the best designs in the gen. Alolan Marowak's just phenomenal. Aside from Alolan Ninetales, Alolan Marowak is my favorite regional variant, so it makes perfect sense. The Hitmon Pokemon, I don't particularly like them, to be honest. They're fine, but they're too humanoid for my liking. Lickitung, I hate. I can't get behind Lickitung. It's just such a weird design choice. Not really a fan of it, and there are way better normal types in the game. So nothing wrong, nothing bad. Terry the Tangler, of course, for anyone who's ever watched the original Poker app. I like Terry the Tangler, really cool design. Kangaskhan, really nice design too, definitely up there. The Mega is just pointless to me. Like, I'm gonna put it sort of in the indifferent, because as a Mega, it's just literally the Joey's out the pouch. That's the only difference. Horsey, basic Seahorse, nothing bad about that. Seadra's better. I like Seadra quite a bit. And obviously Kingdra next gen will be even better. Goldeen, nothing too special about Goldeen, to be honest. Pretty average. Seaking, perfectly average, just basic fish Pokemon, nothing too special. Staryu, pretty standard starfish, but Starmie is pretty nice. Really nice evolution. I like the color scheme, name especially. It's kind of two starfish in one, which is pretty sick. Mr. Mime, people like to hate on Mr. Mime. I'm not one of those people. I like Mr. Mime. I like the whole sort of clown-esque design of it. It makes sense. The ice one, less so. Not much of a fan of the ice form, to be honest. The whole, like, ice skating type thing. Never been much of an ice skater, so not really my cup of tea. Scyther is one of my favorites of Gen 1. Love this mon. Really cool design for a praying mantis type Pokemon. Jinx, we locally call it Nicki Minaj on my channel. It's a bit humanoid for my liking, but I'm somewhat indifferent towards it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Electabuzz, I like Electabuzz. Really fun design. Especially for an electric kaiju type monster. Magmar, we locally call it Butt Duck here. I like Magmar as well. Well, I'm perfectly fine with both of these, they're really cool designs. Pinsir, definitely one of my favorite designs for bug types. Not necessarily comparable to Scyther and Beedrill in my opinion, or especially Mega Beedrill, but perfectly reasonable. Mega Pinsir, not much of a fan of, to be honest. Gotta be real, the Mega doesn't really do it for me. Tauros, obviously, is a playthrough legend of mine, but its design is boring. It's just a ball with multiple tails. Nothing special about Tauros' design at all. Magikarp, it's just a fish. Gyarados, so much better. Oops, I accidentally grabbed the other Magikarp by mistake. Gyarados is definitely a top tier design. Mega Gyarados is a little bit over-designed, but I still like it. Definitely a really good Mega Evolution in terms of design philosophy. Lapras, absolutely brilliant design. Obviously based on a Loch Ness Monster loosely. Really cool design in general. The G-Max is I'm indifferent to. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It's definitely a downgrade on regular Lapras though. Ditto, it's just a basic blob. Nothing too cool about it, not a big fan. Eevee, I like Eevee's design. Not one of my favorites, but I do like it in terms of its evolution. In terms of its G-Max, it doesn't really need to exist. It's just a bit of fan service, like this big snuggle cushion type thing, and I don't really care for it personally. Vaporeon is fine, nothing special. Jolteon I like the most of the three, and Flareon is just whatever to me. I don't really like the evolutions of this gen that much. I like the later ones better. Porygon, it's a cool concept. Really like Porygon's design choice. The color scheme is fine. It's a little bit odd, but I got used to it over time. Ammonite, definitely up there as one of the better designs of this gen. Amistar, a little bit creepy, but I still like it. Kabuto, like Kabuto's design, not as much as Ammonite though. Kabutops is fine. Nothing too special, but I don't hate it. Aerodactyl, one of my favorite Pokemon of this generation. Mega Aerodactyl as well. One of my favorite Megas, to be fair. Snorlax, shout out to my mod, Mr. Barnes. Absolutely love Snorlax. Really cool design. The G-Max I don't really like all that much though. It's kind of just a bit weird that he's just got this random tree on its body that I don't really get the concept of. Articuno, fine, nothing too special. Galarian Articuno I like a little bit more. Zapdos, one of probably the best of the three of the legendaries. Galarian Zapdos, not so great though, it's fine, nothing too special. Moltres, not really that big a fan of. Galarian Moltres I love though, really cool Galarian design. Dratini is fine, nothing special. Dragonair is also fine, nothing too special. Dragonite I dislike. The reason I dislike Dragonite's design is I just feel like it doesn't make sense with the rest of the evolution line. I feel like there are so many cool final evolutions you could do for this line, and then they picked Dragonite's design. Just can't get behind it. Mewtwo, too humanoid for my liking. Same with the Magas. I mean, Mewtwo Y isn't so bad, it's fine. Mew is definitely a nice design though. Much better executed, much more simpler, but then again, it is based for Mew. But yeah, that is my Generation 1 Kanto tier list, up to date. Everything is in here. In fact, I think it's actually missing some Pokemon, because I don't see Rhyhorn or Rhydon here. But just for note of Rhyhorn or Rhydon, Rhydon would probably be an S tier, Rhyhorn would be an A tier. But other than that, I think it's got all of them in here. But yep, that is my design tier list for Generation 1, the Kanto region. Bear in mind, this is design choice, so let me know your designs down in the comments below. Would love to see it, of course. If you do make your own tier list video, make sure you tweet it out at me on Twitter. I'd love to see it. But yeah, as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay awesome. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.